just notified that we can't buy any more backyard chickens. So this video is going to seem like it's going to go in a bunch of different directions, and there are going to be people that complain that I am repeating myself from previous videos. The thing we have to understand is, if I don't repeat some of the information that I've provided in previous videos, I will get millions of questions in the comment section saying, hey, what about this and that and this and that? So it's easier for me to just talk about everything and then provide in new information while I'm doing it. So these are our chickens. As you know, the white ones are Brahmas. We bought those last spring. They're really good meat birds and much healthier than Cornish cross hens. We lost the rooster. He broke his foot, so we had to butcher him. He jumped down off his roost, and he weighed 15 pounds. He was huge. So we don't have a rooster at the moment, which is kind of scary if you're worried about SHTF, you know, stuff hits the fan, or if for some reason you can't buy any more chickens. We had a Brahma rooster, and we were going to mate him with the, well, all of them actually, but specifically with the Brahma females, and that would have given us meat birds. Over time, we began to realize that meat birds is not giving us the biggest bang for our buck. It's the eggs. Eggs are giving us the biggest bang for our buck. We have decided that we are going to have 3 different age groups of birds every year. We're gonna have 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and 3-year-olds. As you know though, our oldest birds were killed by dogs. We've taken care of the dog problem, at least we think we've taken care of the dog problem. So that leaves us with 17 chickens. They're all hens, and we're getting anywhere from 7 to 13 eggs a day, with the average day being about 7. We're eating eggs every day for lunch, but we would like to be able to eat eggs every day for lunch and supper, and possibly make deviled eggs or hard-boiled eggs and have them for snacks while we watch Netflix or Amazon Prime. Now, obviously, people are going to tell me, oh, you can't eat that many eggs, and they're just going to give me all kinds of reasons why you can't eat that many eggs. But we're carnivores, and we have found the best nutrition source is in eggs. Now, red meats, and there's a lot of doctors out there that said red meats are good for you, but regardless, eggs are easy to produce. They're cheap. Now, I'm going to get people in the comment section that say, no, you got to have chicken meat. Like I said, the biggest bang for the buck is in the eggs. You got to think that when you butcher a chicken, there's a lot that goes on doing that. You got to butcher it, and then you got to freeze it, or you got to can it. So there's a lot of steps in that. Whereas with eggs, all you got to do is feed the chickens. Like I said, we're going to have 3 age groups. That way, we always have the youngest age group producing eggs through the winter, because they don't go and molt that first year. After the 3rd year though, after they're 3 years old, their production level goes way down. So there's no reason to hang on to them. So that means that in the fall, we will butcher the oldest, the 3rd year chickens. So we are still going to get some meat out of it, but throughout their life, they're going to be giving us the eggs. Whereas in the past, with like the Cornish cross hens, that was a big chore. You had 24 birds, you had to keep them alive. They couldn't walk very well, they got so heavy. They wouldn't even go into their chicken coop. They just lay up here against the fence. Wildlife would come over, grab their wing and eat their wing. It was terrible. Everything about it was bad. We had one female, must have broke her wing by trying to get up. She was trying to get up, and it was horrible. I had to give them a bath every day because it got really hot. So they were very sensitive to the temperature. Now, these Brahmas aren't so bad. Yet these are winter birds. I don't know if you can see it, but they actually have feathers on their feet, the white ones. They are very winter hardy. So they'll struggle through the summer also. But the nice thing about the Brahmas is they do produce through the winter. What you see here is the chickens that we incubated, the brown ones. They're Americana mix. So there's some purebred Americanas in here, but the brownish ones, they're going to be Americanas and Buff Orpingtons or New Hampshires, because the male was Americana. Unfortunately, as a result, we only have 1 age group right now because of that dog. Otherwise, we'd have had 2 age groups. We lost 9 chickens, but we still have the 17. So this spring, we're gonna go get some more chickens. If we had a rooster, we had considered breeding again and just incubating. Now, I've got a video, I think it's yesterday's video, where I show you the name of the incubator. It's called Nurture Right 360. You can buy those at Amazon. or you can buy it at Orscheln's. We just saw one at Orscheln's for 170 bucks. Now I think we got ours for 140 bucks. I'm not selling them, so don't ask for a link. I'm not a salesman. So I have showed you that Carolyn is feeding chickens homemade stuff. She's been raising sunflower seeds, little sprouts, and I wish I could put a link to everything at the end of this video, but either I'll put a link to the video where I show you the sprouts and the mesh and the grits and all that, but it's all corn. She grinds up the corn, or I'll put a link to the incubator. Either one, I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But the reason we're feeding our chickens is twofold. One, chicken food was about $15 a bag. Well, while we were at the store, she saw whole corn for $10 a bag. Or you could buy cracked corn for $14 a bag. So it was the cracked corn and the chicken feed was about the same price, but the whole corn was $4 cheaper. So she thought that she could grind it up. So we got a grain mill, she's grinding it up. And she's been making cornbread and different things, mixing in the sunflower seed sprouts, mixing in crushed up eggshells. That way they can get their calcium. The sunflower seeds provide the protein, and the corn provides the sugars and the carbohydrates and all that they need. And we have not lost any egg production. We're actually doing very well as far as egg production goes. We're getting about one egg every other day from the chickens. That's pretty good, especially in wintertime. Well, as you know, there have been lots of reports that people who buy chicken food from the Tractor Supply store has seen a reduction in egg production to the point that some people are not getting any. So a lot of people have done a lot of research on this, and they've determined that there is a certain brand from the Tractor Supply store that must not have enough protein in it. So Carolyn really saved us by making her own food. The second reason she made her own food was because we know that corn provides warmth for the chickens. Corn is very fattening. Just like if you were to raise a pig, most farmers will feed the pig corn for a month before they butcher it or send it to market. Fattens them up, get more weight out of them. If you're butchering it, it's not so much the weight, but you want the lard, especially back in the old days when they used to can food with lard. She likes to give them corn in the wintertime because that fattens them up and keeps them warmer. Not only that, the sugar, the carbohydrates in the corn burn off, and that provides warmth right away. So if you feed them corn right before they go to bed, then they're warm all night. So it paid off. Not only did we keep our chickens warm, we also was able to keep our egg production up very high. Now, don't get me wrong, I wish we'd have had the 9 chickens still. I'm not sure that would have increased our production this winter, simply because they went into molt. They were the second year, so they don't produce as much during the wintertime. It's the first year chickens that produce. That's why we want 3 years. The other thing is, after 3 years, chickens just kind of reduce the number of eggs they produce. So at some point, it doesn't even become cost effective to keep them around because you're feeding them more than what they're producing. As I have reported in the past, Carolyn and I wanted to get leghorns. I understand everybody's concern about leghorns, is they're not very healthy, but remember, we're only keeping our chickens for 3 years. The other thing is, leghorns tend to drop off egg production pretty quickly after their first year. So it wouldn't have been very cost effective to keep them for much more than 3 years anyways. As I have reported, there was a chicken coop in Connecticut, I think, somewhere over in the east. I think it was Connecticut. Hillsdale Farms or something like that. One of the largest egg producers in the country. Chicken coop burned down. Had 100,000 leghorns in it. We now have even less eggs being produced. So here we have farmers, backyard chicken growers not getting eggs because of the feed issue at Tractor Supply store. We have the bird flu, which I haven't mentioned, the bird flu that killed like 30 or 40 million chickens. So Carolyn has been looking to buy leghorns either in February or May. To be honest, I have been begging her not to buy chickens in February. It is harder to raise chickens when it's cold. Remember, we live off grid, so we can't necessarily keep the chicks warm. You got to keep them warm. You got to have a heat lamp or something to keep them warm. Also, we live in a tiny house. When the stove is going, it can get up to 90 degrees and everything's fine with the chickens. But when we let the house cool off down to 60 degrees, then I got to keep the little birds warm. So what I do is I fill up a bottle, juice bottle or something, with hot water, and I set it in there. But I got to do that every couple hours. So I wasn't really looking forward to raising little birds in February again. So she has been putting in an order for May. And all of a sudden, we have found that there are no leghorns available. Limited availability or no availability every month. And so we're trying to figure out, why isn't there an availability issue with these leghorns? A few things could be happening based on our research. Obviously, with the reduction of chickens in the market, farmers are trying to replenish their stock so they can get their eggs back out to market. Well, leghorns are a very popular chicken to produce for these farmers. It's the most common one. They produce a lot of eggs, something like 320 eggs per year, so there's only 365 days a year. So they're buying up all the chickens. Now imagine that you just lost 100,000 chickens. You're going to want to get those replaced. So now there's no market for them. The other thing that seems to be a problem is people, backyard chicken farmers, are buying more chickens. It's not necessarily new people coming in the market to buy chickens. It's people who already have chickens or wanting more chickens. They're seeing the shortage. They're seeing how easy it is to raise chickens and produce eggs just like us. So they're wanting to get more just like us. They're seeing the benefits of being able to sell eggs. Now, we don't sell eggs. We eat everything that we produce. We don't store eggs. We eat them. The more eggs we produce, the more eggs we eat. It reduces our grocery bills because we don't have to go to the store to buy meat. So if you already have a setup for chickens and there's an egg shortage, what better time to buy more chickens? Because you can sell them for a higher price. So Carolyn and I are at a crossroads. We've decided that we're not going to get leghorns. We're not even going to try to fight the issue and get ourselves something like New Hampshires or Rhode Island Reds. New Hampshires and Rhode Islands are basically the same bird. It's my experience, the New Hampshires are friendlier than the Rhode Islands. That's just my experience. However, all the articles and the blogs will say just the opposite, that Rhode Island Reds are more friendly. It doesn't matter. They both produce a lot of eggs. Not as much as leghorns. Leghorns produce white eggs. So we'll get anywhere from 20 to 30 less eggs per chicken per year with the Rhode Islands. But it's the only thing we can do because there's just nothing available. I really wanted leghorns. But in the end, as Carolyn and I were talking today, we would prefer to have something than nothing. We got to get our numbers back up. But it is a warning that things are happening in this country that is starting to affect even people raising chickens. You know, there's this theory going on right now that the egg yolks can prevent the pandemic that we went through, or it's neutralizing the thing here. I don't know how true all that is, and I'm not going to try to get into speculation, but there are people who do believe it. So here we have this theory that there is a shortage of eggs at the grocery store, which would seem to me that more people are going to say, hey, I want eggs so I can get that thing neutralized, or I want that thing so I don't get sick from the thing. Gotta be careful what I say here. So if you'll click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about something about chickens. So I hope I can inspire you to become self-reliant, so you don't have to worry about this mess. Thanks for watching.